Thanks for watching Film Buff, really, honestly, it's fucking great.
Oh, hello, how's it going, guys? My name is Aim. Alright, man. So, back again for Attack on Titan, time for episode 4. But first, I need to thank all the amazing patrons. As always, thank you so much for the amazing support. Thank you for sticking around. You guys are the real deal, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And a reminder to anyone else, if you would like full-length reactions to this, check out my Patreon page. And again, for the future anime, again, at this point, it does seem like it's going to be Death Note. It's got, quite a lead. So yeah, this is going to be early access and full length for Death Note. So, something to keep in mind once that starts. A bit of a social media update. I have a new Twitter account. I'm sure a lot of you noticed that my old account kind of disappeared, all of a sudden. And by old, I mean really old. It's like a 10-year-old account, man. So it's a big bummer. A huge bummer to lose it. I don't know if it's a permanent suspension. Basically, I have to get a retraction from the copyright holder. It's over a 4-second clip, so it's a little bit silly, but so I'll keep trying. But I decided to make a new account, and yeah, if you used to follow me back then, maybe jump on the new one. I'm trying to rebuild again. I'm super active there. I talk about all the things I'm into. Super open to chat. Tweet at me. So yeah, help me rebuild if you're into that, if you're into Twitter. Now, before I go into the episode, I need to address something here. At first I thought, let it go, but people just being silly, but then some of the comments and messages and like screenshots I saw, the definitive tone in those, I was like, really, had me shaking my head. So apparently, I've read the manga because it's impossible for me to know that those are Armin's parents in that flashback sequence, in Sunnis' flashback sequence, and that there's no information there for me to have any idea that those are his parents. If you're being serious about that, like, if you actually think it's impossible for us to know, or for anyone to know that those are Armin's parents, you've kind of just outed yourself as not the brightest, right? I'm sorry, but like, are you kidding me? Oh, so let's ignore the fact that there's these two major flashbacks, in season 1 of Armin telling Eren about his parents, and that they have this book full of knowledge on the outside, and that they plan on going to the outside. And then, the next flashback, as Eren is in that limbo state, right, in his Titan form, and Armin tries to get him out of that. He talked about how, oh, even though you knew my parents died a horrible death, you still want to go outside. And also, you really think they're going to show us a random ass couple trying to escape? Like, really? Come on, like, really think about that. They're going to show us a random ass couple because couples try to escape all the time, right? Come on, man. Stop being silly. And the reason I'm addressing this is because, the comments and the messages and the screenshots, the tone people have in those, like, they're so sure. Like, they're like, it's impossible to know those are Armin's parents. Like, I was baffled, man. I was baffled reading this shit. Like, damn, man, are you guys, like, not paying attention? Like, if you're gonna decide to set the standard based on other reactions you've seen and decide that, okay, so I've seen a few reactions now, they couldn't get it, so I'm gonna set the standard there. No one else should be able to get it. The hell kind of logic is that? Like, come on, man. And then, I was talking about some screenshots, and they came from the Blind Wave Discord. Now, this has nothing to do with the crew at Blind Wave. Those guys are friggin' awesome. I'm talking about the Discord. Well, the Attack on Titan page on that Discord. Man, first of all, I was kind of disappointed. I was, like, surprised and disappointed that people thought that. Because in those screenshots, some of you are, like, you think it's impossible. One person said it's, like, it's a random guess and he just got it spot on, or he's read the manga. Like, I was like, really? I'm actually part of the Blind Wave Discord. I don't know if you know this, but I'm in there. Now I can't go into the Attack on Titan page or any of the shows I haven't seen yet. But I go to Game of Thrones and like the patron only. But I have friends around, the place, so if they see my name, they usually send me screenshots. Listen, man, if you're gonna be bold enough to accuse someone of being a fraud, be ready for a reply, man. That's my rant. I'm done. Let's get into the episode. Oh, it's them! Hey, so... Marlo.
気になりたいんですよ。
調査兵団だな。そうだ。声を出すなよ。そのままの姿勢で指示通りに動くな。
そうだ。ゆっくり銃を前のやつに渡せ。
声は出さないでね。
Oh, Armin with the one-liner, man.
とにかく君が生きててよかった。この真実を明らかにしよう。
どうやって？あんた公害見てないのか？調査兵がやったと憲兵が言えばそうなるんだよ。俺の証言なんか意味ねえんだ。
一生天敵に怯えてネズミのようにこそこそ生きてくぐらいなら、命を投げ打ってでもその天敵に一矢報いてやろう。
That takes courage, man.
誰もがあんたらみたいな死生観で生きてるわけじゃないんだ。何もあんたにけなされるような筋合いはねえよ。
教会や家族に真実を教えてあげたくないのか？
はあ？それあんたらの都合だろ。
当たり前だ。お前も自分の都合を通してみろ。さあ、ついてきてもらうよ、フレーゲル。
やだ、もうあんたたちは負けたんだ。敗者なんだよ。
何言ってんの？調査兵団は未だ負けたことしかないんだよ。
兵長。
隊長。
さて、ストヘスク憲兵支部所属、マルロ・フロイデンベルク二等兵。
リヴァイ兵長、本物だ。
He's like, oh god, it's a legend.
チドリス二等兵。
あなたたちのせいでストヘスクの人民が100人以上死にました。
ああ。
おい。
あなたたちは自分が正義の味方のつもりなのかもしれませんが、被害者やその家族は突然地獄に落とされたんですよ。
ああ、知ってる。
あいつのことまだ何も知らなかったのに、あの日以来見つかってないのは巨人にぐちゃぐちゃにされて見分けつけられないからでしょ。
いや、潜伏してた巨人の正体、アニレオンハートだったか
It's gonna hit her like a ton of bricks.
ら。まったく嫌になるよな。この世界のことを何も知らねえのは俺らもみんな同じだ。この壁の中心にいる奴ら以外は。
リヴァイ兵長、俺に協力させてください。
Oh.
俺にはあなたたちが間違っているとは思いません。この世界の不正を正すことができるのなら、俺は何だってやります。
I remember him, man. His
お前は
from episode 23.
ダメだ。お前に体制を敵に回す覚悟があるからって俺には測れない。行くぞ。
It's not that easy to join up.
この辺に拘束しろ。
ここで見たことは忘れるよ。
そりゃそうだ。お前たちはここで死ぬからな。
話が違うぞ。
やっぱりお前らを逃がすのは危険だ。俺の独断で殺すことにした。
信じてくれ。あんたたちは人類を救うために戦ってると分かってるだろ、ヒッチ。
信用できるわけねえだろ。特に
Okay, Jean, just make sure it doesn't backfire now.
一体なんでそんな髪型にしたのか。俺はいまいち共感できね
俺は入る兵団を間違えたよ。あんたが今も命をかけて戦い続ける限り、俺はあんたを信じる。
That's basically Jean. Yeah, it's just a test, girl. Chill. That's basically Jean if Jean had joined the military police, right?
振り下ろしてたらどうするつもりだったんだ。なぜ俺をそこまで信用した？
え。なんかお前。
Yeah. Just like Annie said.
そのバカって兄が言ってたやつと同じやつか。
知らねえよ。
Yeah, that's the same one.
よし、あとは俺たちでやる。お前たちは怪しまれないうちにタイに戻れ。
はい。
I like it. I like it.
ヒッチ。助かった。行くぞ。今度はこっちから仕掛ける。
Dude, this guy's a goddamn legend, man. Oh, I love this track. I remember from season 2.
俺だ。
Dude's looking like Gold Roger over here.
中央憲兵だ。こいつには聞くことがある。
捜査兵団から人をさらうよう中央憲兵が依頼したのか。俺たちとは別の隊だがな。何にも教えてもらえなかったんだな。ボンクラ息子は何。
Oh.
その依頼断っていたら。そりゃある程度の情報を知っちまったし、命はなかっただろうな。
Hanji's up there, isn't she?
従業員やこの町に固執してなきゃな。知った風な口聞きやがって。親父は俺に教えてくれたよ。商人は嗅覚が大事だ。
Yeah, in the cart.
だから俺は嗅ぎ分けた。親父たちの無念を晴らせる人たちを俺は選んだ。どうしたんだグレーゲル。最後は豚らしくピーピー泣けよ。
Shut your fucking mouth.
もう用済みだ。上を見ろマヌケ。
Oh, knocked out.
ワイルドすぎます。やったぞ。聞いたかみんな。調査兵団なぜ。
Oh, nicely done.
あんたから見りゃそうだろうが悪いな。俺らはこうなっちまったところにもまだ住んでんだ。何が事実かを決めるのは王政だ。お前ら俺にこんなことをしてただで済むと思うなよ。お前らはもうしまう。安心してくれ。この町はリーブス商会が守る。今日からフレーゲル・リーブス俺が会長だ。
Oh, okay, man.
よろしくお願い
Good for you, dude.
します。よろしく頼むぜ会長。おい小せえぞ。
就任おめでとう。じゃ憲兵を頼んだよ。
おう
Beautiful, beautiful.
勇ましいな。さっきの検問所にいたのはまだ右も左もわからん新兵だ。そんなのを殴り倒して英雄一人か。
それは気の毒なことをしたな。
Oh, have some of that.
あんたの口は気の毒でしょうがない。まだまともに喋れるうちに口を使った方がいいぞ。エレンとクリスタはどこだ。うるせえよ。さっきの質問に答えなかった分だ。調査兵団の命には優先順位ってもんがある。それを承知のバカどもの集まりが俺らだ。エレンとクリスタの居場所を言え。
知らない。本当に教えられてないんだ。ケニー・アッカーマンはとても
あ
アッカーマン。それがケニー、奴のせいか。
そうだが
Mikasa's like, what?
なあ、確かに奴は教えねえよな。大事なことは特に。では何本もあることだしな。
あんたまともじゃない。
Oh, look at that look on his face. Kenny Ackerman. Oh.
なんてざまだ。ピクシス司令にあることを委ねた。もしその時が来ればだが、その時俺はただ見ている。選ぶのはお前だ。そして
Oh.
彼らだ。
He's cooking something up, man.
それで結局エルヴィンからは何も出なかったのだな。ああ、よい。奴はすでにカゴの中の
Birds in a cage.
だけどな。これまでと同じように壁の秘密は守られ、壁内の平和も守られる。
Peace.
永遠にな。
Fritz.
エルヴィン、最後に言い残したいことはあるか。
Okay, man. Episode 4. A bit of a sad parallel there, right? You know, the commander chained up in a dark, cell deep underground. perhaps just like his father, right, in Sunnis's flashback. And, you know, the ending of that episode kind of set it up as this final stand moment for the commander. You know, they mean to execute him, right? They think it's just going to be an easy thing. You know, that corrupt round table, I'll get into that in a bit. They think it's just going to be an easy thing. They'll get rid of him and they'll get back on track, apparently, right? But as they've set up in the last few episodes, he has something planned, something big, a big gamble, the big play. You know, Pixis is in on it, and apparently, you know, it's something that would definitely see them hang if it doesn't come off. So it's a big moment. And speaking of that round table, you know, the corrupt round table, you know, they were saying some interesting things. One thing in particular really stood out. You know, that one guy, he said something interesting. You know, he said that, you know, they're just caged birds. That's all they are to them. You know, keep them in the dark, keep them in line. You know, and I find it interesting because it's not the first time I've heard it. It actually kind of opened the series, right? If you go back to episode 1, you know, I remember that, man. I remember, you know, I believe it's Armin. Armin's a narrator, right, for these kind of things. And he, you know, he mentioned something about like the embarrassment of being caged like birds. And that was in episode 1, like right in that opening scene at some point. So, you know, I found that interesting that, you know, they feel like that. And that's basically how these people, the higher ups, you know, these corrupt assholes, that's how they want them to feel. And I believe the term cattle has also been used at some point in the series. Just that idea of fencing people in, you know, caging people, keeping them in line, you know, that kind of thought process. It's been reoccurring throughout the series. And, you know, but now speaking of birds, there's also symbolism throughout the series of free birds, you know, soaring high up in the sky. That's how birds are supposed to be, right? They're not meant to be caged, right? They're meant to travel great distances and discover new lands, right? So perhaps some foreshadowing, you know, that our birds are gonna, you know, break out of this proverbial cage at some point and, you know, do what they're meant to do. Travel great distances, discover new places, expand the horizons, man. I like that. But there's a lot of interesting things in that Niall and Commander Smith dynamic, right? First of all, you know, Niall, like I said before, he doesn't see, you know, he's not corrupt. That much is clear. You can see that he tries to do the right thing. Like, he's actively trying to, you know, do the right thing. So he's not at all like most of the military police. So these journalists are trying to get like updates from him. You can see that the older, more experienced journalist, you know, he's basically trying to get a quote from Niall, you know, because that would be credible, right? He's trying to get a confirmation that, yeah, the scouts killed a civilian. I liked how he handled that question, though. He didn't just straight out confirm it. You know, he didn't just you know, put all the blame on them. His answer was more, judging by the evidence, maybe, yes. But again, you know, he's skeptical. You can see he's skeptical. The evidence is not enough for him to buy this just yet. Definitely not enough to give a definitive answer or yes to that question. But Niall had some concerns, right? Over the new ODM gear. He realized that it's practically made to kill other humans, you know, because he said that it's basically useless against Titans, but against humans, super effective. And the fact that he didn't know of its existence up until this point made him really uneasy, you know? So he's not just some closed-minded scrub. In fact, he thought maybe at one point he might be at the receiving end of this, right? He might be hunted down by people in this ODM gear. So, again, you know, I do like that about Niall. But, you know, speaking of being hunted down, you know, and that plays into that scene from the last episode. You know, the commander tossed a few questions out there. Who can you trust being the major question here? But you can see that, you know, Niall has respect for him. He does respect him. You can see that. You know, after that, there's a subtle moment of him kind of, you know, looking at the guards, and then he kneels down to tell him that he's gonna get an audience with the king. But yeah, this scene actually felt like a continuation of that scene in that room, right? Another chance for the commander to get to Nile, or at least continue to probe, right? To present ideas and information, that's gonna keep him thinking about the future, perhaps the near future, right? Apparently. So, in fact, he asked him about his family, his wife, his kids, the location of his family, the current location of his family. Now, see, I know enough about Commander Smith to know that this isn't just like a nice gesture, right? In that moment, he's doing this for a reason, man. He's a smart man. He's a bit of a master at getting people to think, really getting the juices flowing. So I think that's what he's doing here. So top of the episode, they brought back Marlo and Hitch. Now, I didn't remember the names, but the moment they showed them on screen, I remembered them. They had a limited, they've had limited appearances. Episode 23 being the major focus for them, and then both of them appeared in season 2, episode 1, right? But yeah, Marlo in particular had more of an impact. I remember him being this frustrated figure. He wanted to clean up the military police by rising to the top. Of course, that was going to be an impossible task because the system is corrupt and you just couldn't get to the top to make those changes. In this episode, he got that chance and he took it, man. He fought for that chance actually, because at first he was rejected by Levi, right? But then he proved himself and he earned that chance to help. And later on, you can see that Levi is grateful, right, for the help. So that must have been a great moment. That would feel so amazing, to be able to help someone you consider this legend, someone who's fighting for this great cause that you believe in as well, and you would love to be a part of. So he got a chance to do that. Hitch as well. Speaking of Hitch, there's a bit of a sad moment because she has a bit of an emotional outburst at one point, right? And I say it's sad because she, up until that point, she believed that that Annie died because of that, crazy rampage, the Titan rampage that happened at the end of the last season. Not last season, season 1. And she was quite upset about losing Annie. She said, I didn't even get a chance to get to know her. The sad reality is that a lot of innocent people died, right? And Hitch wasn't holding back. She straight out said this to Levi. She said, you guys think you're all heroes and stuff, but your mission, your operation got a lot of innocent people killed. And Levi knows this, right? He's not, he knows, of course he knows that operation had to be okayed by the commander, knowing that there's going to be substantial casualties and losses. But again, I've been talking about this throughout the series. It takes those kind of decisions, those kind of decisions can only be made by some people, again, Pixis had to do that, and Commander Smith certainly did it. And that kind of plays back into Sunnis's theory, or his take on the role and how there's an order to all of it. Now the scouts did something that got a lot of people killed, but it's because they believed in their cause, and that's the sacrifice that the commander chose to make. And there's a bit of a meta moment, bit of like an audience surrogate moment, as Levi said, no one knows a damn thing about this world, and he's disgusted by that, and that's one of the things I like about this show, that a lot of these characters, they don't know much, just like us, the audience. It's like both of us get to find out together, and speaking of Levi Heicho, man, this is one cool cat. This is like as cool as they come, man. His demeanor is so fascinating. That interrogation scene, he's so calm and composed, and almost as if he's bored, man, as he breaks Gold Roger's arm. And then he just goes, Uruseo. I think the voice acting actually has a major impact on that cool factor. There's something really soothing, something really likable, something that really pulls you in about his performance. So, you know, great credit to the voice actor doing this, doing Levi. And, you know, as this interrogation, this torture sequence is going on, you know, as he's breaking his arm, as he's shoving his goddamn foot down his throat or down his mouth, holy shit. Only he's cool enough to pull that off, right? You can see that Sasha and Connie are still really uneasy at this, at the thought of this, you know, interrogating people and torturing people for information. You can see, you know, they're kind of, you know, trying not to look. It's difficult. You can see it's difficult for them to see this. So it's going to take some time for them to get used to this, if they get used to this at all, because I'm sure, you know, there's going to be more moments like this. You know, torturing people or, you know, interrogating people for information. And that final shot, you know, as Gold Roger kind of turns around, he's just crying and he's like, "You're insane." And that shot of Levi just kind of looking at him, you know, head tilted. He's like, "Maybe I am." And just the music that's playing. Oh. Also, Kenny Ackerman, confirmation on that. Can't say I'm too shocked because, you know, I speculated that he could be an Ackerman, just based on all the information they gave me. And, you know, that there's specific traits unique to these three. You know, he basically straight out said that he showed Levi these tricks that Levi is just fucking amazing at. So, you know, that came from somewhere, and that's Kenny. And also, let's get real. You don't just randomly raise a kid. You don't just decide to raise a kid, you know. You just happen to find him in the underground and you decide, I'm gonna raise this kid. Come on, let's get real here. Let's think about it logically. He clearly raised him because he knows him. He's related to him. Now, you know, I'm excited to find out how exactly he's related to him. I know he's not his father. I know that much. But yeah, I'm excited. But, you know, in terms of Kenny Ackerman, you know, that name drop, two different reactions, right? From Mikasa and then Levi. This confirms that, of course, Levi does not know his own last name. He doesn't know. Because this is the first time he finds out this is Kenny's last name. And it became really abundantly clear that he doesn't even know his own last name. But Mikasa, she had quite the shocker because she knows this is someone that's related. You know, this terrible man is someone she's related to. Again, excited to see how exactly he's related. You know, Levi's relation to Mikasa, and then Mikasa's relation to Kenny, and then Kenny's relation to Levi. Excited to see if they you know, go deeper into that. Let's go back to, you know, Marlo and Hitch and Jean. Man, speaking of Jean, man, I just love this guy so much. I'm just so happy that he's front and center, part of the Levi squad, and he's around. He's still one of my favorites, man. Right up there, you know, in my top 3, top 4. I just love everything about him. He saw something, right? He saw something in Marlo, and he wanted to make sure that he gives him a chance. Later on, he said, "You reminded me of that guy I hate so much." You know, and he said the exact same thing to him. You know, said the same thing to Marlo in episode 23. So, you know, Jean knows that, okay, yeah, this guy's really similar to Eren. He's, you know, his intentions are similar to Eren. And also, he's similar to Jean as well. You know, Jean could have been Marlo. He definitely could have been in that position had he not picked the scouts. You know, there's that moment at the end of season 1, in one of those episodes, last few episodes, as he's running past those military police guys. You know, he's looking up at them, just struggling and just panicking, trying to get the gear on. And Jean's like, to think I could have been one of them. You know, he dodged a bullet, and he realized in that moment that he was meant to be in the scouts. And that he would regret it big time if he ended up in the military police. But now he kind of saw someone who is just like him or like Eren, who did end up in the military police, but they should have been in the scouts. You know, he saw that, so he wanted to give Marlo a chance, you know, to prove himself, and he proved himself, that's for sure. Let's move on to, you know, Hanji and Fraggle and that plan coming together. Executed to perfection. You know, Hanji's actually been one of the more highlighted characters of season 3, and I'm loving it, man, because, you know, she's so intelligent, yet so chaotic. So that's a recipe for an exciting character, right? A really likable character. She's actually, you know, she's kind of climbing the ladder. I'm really enjoying Hanji. And again, you know, great credit to Isayama for putting together this fantastic ensemble of characters, man. All of them have their unique draws, and the last time I cared for so many characters or found so many characters interesting in one show, that was Game of Thrones, man. So that's saying something. So I'm really loving the deep pool of characters in this show. It was established a long time ago that you don't need Eren in every scene or every moment. You don't need everything to be about Eren for this to be exciting. In fact, a lot of my favorite moments from season 2 and even season 3 right now. Season 3 has no focus on Eren at the moment because he's kidnapped and all. But going back to season 2, a lot of my favorite moments had nothing to do with Eren, man. So that that's some fantastic writing, and that's again credit to Isayama for constructing so many rich characters in this ensemble that you can put Eren aside for long periods of time and still have it be exciting following these other characters. So yeah, I'm really loving the focus on Hanji, and damn was it cool and satisfying to see the underdog Fragile come through, and have the courage to go through with this plan and expose them. Because he's such a nice person, such a likable person. Some great voice acting on that rooftop scene. You could really feel his frustration, his sadness as he's and the fear, as he's telling Hanji that no, I've got to lay low. There's that really cool line, from that rooftop scene. Defeat is all the scouts have ever known, right? It's kind of like I'm always angry moment from the Hulk. But that setup scene, oh man, fantastic. Probably one of the best moments of season 3 so far. First of all, their downfall ended up being that disconnect, right? Because at first they thought Fragel's an idiot for running into this dump. No one's here. They can carry out the plan and kill him. But in reality, it's full of people. So that disconnect from the people, from the common folk, that was their downfall, right? Because these interior police guys, they couldn't even imagine people living here. They had no clue the conditions people have to live in. So that was their downfall. That still took a lot of courage to face them like that. It's surrounded by people, but they have guns pointed at him, and he still has to face them. There's still that scary aspect. And there's that powerful moment, as he asked about his father's death and the reason he had to be, the reason he had to die, basically. And in doing so, he got them to spill the beans, and also got his father's name cleared in the process. Right now, there's a full crowd of people who heard everything this interior police guy was saying. So there's that great moment as he mentioned one of his father's lessons, right? Always follow your nose as a merchant. And that moment as Hanji and Moblik come in, oh, such a hype moment. The music, the animation itself. Hanji comes in, panther-like reflexes, one punches the guy. So that whole scene was just fantastic, man. So yeah, that was a life-changing moment, right, for Fragile. And also the public's perception of the interior police. Now the public is starting to, see the shady dealings that are going on. This is like the first big dose of it. And there's a lot of them there, so it's out there now. They know now that, there is some sketchy stuff going on. And, you can't really silence all those people, right? So it's out there now. It's gonna spread, hopefully. And there's that great moment he sits down on the guy's head and promises to, be the new boss and protect the city. Great little arc. I just love that. That wrapped up nicely. And yeah, I think that's about it, man. I think I've talked about everything I need to talk about. Yeah, I think so. Great little episode. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave your comments, let me know what you guys thought. If you're into social media, check out my new Twitter account. Like I said earlier, my old one got suspended. Still trying to get it back, but who knows how long that might take, or if I get it back at all. But yeah, check it out. I'm trying to rebuild. I basically talk about all the things I like. And I'm really active there, so feel free to tweet at me. I'm super happy to chat. So yeah, check that out if you're into that. Huge thank you to all the patrons. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate the support. Thank you for sticking around. You guys are the real deal. And a reminder to anyone else, if you would like full-length reactions, check out my Patreon. And yeah, you know, down the line, for the next anime, there's going to be early access and full-length. At this point, it's pretty much Death Note. It's going to take a crazy, like, you know, surge to knock that off, you know, top spot. So, you know, that's going to be, you know, early access and full length. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for checking that out. I'll see you soon for the next episode. Take it easy.